Friends, this is the leadership team of Church in the Mall. And I have asked them to come up here today to, one, introduce themselves so that you can put faces and names. But also they wanted, we took some time a few weeks ago to meet and to start to discern what does the next season of ministry look like here at Church in the Mall. And they're going to touch on more of this than I am, but I wanted to just share this because I walked out of that day overwhelmed and joyful because, yes, there were a lot of ideas discussed, but there were also values named. And two things that came out in particular was that there was a need for trust, and trust is built on transparency. And it's part of what today is about. They wanted to kind of open themselves up to you, to be known, to let you kind of into this process. And so today, this is about kind of information sharing and gathering. We're not making any decisions. So don't walk out of here going, oh, this is what we're doing. This is about listening to each other. I want you to listen to them, and I know that they are going to listen to you. We're going to have a lot of opportunities later on in service to actually put some of this to paper. But this discernment process is what is going to guide us in that next season of ministry as we seek to live out our mission to make disciples for the transformation of the world. Now, I do want to acknowledge, though, that sometimes when we start to talk about change, people feel like we are dismissing our history. And that's not what this is about at all. I am extremely grateful of the work that we have done together, the work that others have done that we get to build on. That is a beautiful thing. And so as we move forward, it's not to move away from what we have done, but to carry on the legacy of what was planted here originally, too. And so I want you to understand that this good work that was done is now what is going to feed into our future. So I'm going to take a moment and let them introduce themselves. I'm going to try and get out of the way and not fall off the stage. It gets dark up here, like the lights are really blinding.
I'm Jeff Schwab.
I'm Cynthia Gordon.
Chris White. Melissa Miller.
Alan Curtis.
Kathy Chen.
And to share with you, because I want you to hear from them. You hear enough from me, but I want you to hear from them today about what's going on here and their own process and how they see the future of this church. And so I'm going to ask Alan to start, and we're going to go from there, but this is just a time for them to share about their work and what they've been doing and how you can be a part of this as well.
So I prepared a few notes, so pardon me if I have to read them. On February 4th, this board met and spent several hours getting to know each other, learning what we'd actually volunteered for, and kicking off our work for the year. In our job, the jobs of what could be several committees in other church is all combined into this one committee. Not that we're going to do all the work, but sort of all those committees to lead the work. And it's known, as Mariah said, as the administrative board or the board or something. So our list of jobs are quite impressive as I put them together. Our jobs are create and supervise a strategic plan for an effective congregation, guide and further the ministry of the congregation, develop Christian spiritual leadership for and by the congregation, supervise and maintain all property belonging to the church, nurture the financial vitality of the church, handle all the legal stuff related to donations and the good old IRS, building strong relationships between the staff and the congregation, build strong relationships between the congregation and the district superintendent, who's the next person up in the hierarchy of the United Methodist Church, and handling all of the HR stuff of employing people like evaluations and salaries and benefits and all that. Many documents with many pages could be written to cover this. I know this because 5 documents totaling 182 pages have been written covering more details of this. And so that we're all on the same page, I now propose to read all 182 to you. Just kidding. What I'm really going to do is focus on just the first 2 things that I lumped together as having a plan to guide the ministry of the congregation. To guide effectively, you need to know where you're trying to go. Towards that end, this team got together, like I said, about a month ago to brainstorm what we see the congregation doing in the future and plan what steps it takes to get there. Then we winnowed that list down to several that we would focus on. What you see around here on the walls that we'll talk more about later, and the chili you smell, are all the results of that brainstorming and planning. Today is a tiny sliver of a hint of the theme of the vision, which on social media would be called #everyday. #everyday, we have a relationship with God. #everyday, there should be some opportunity to get to know the people of Church in the Mall, both by people currently here as well as those who are not yet currently here. #everyday, there should be something going on here to facilitate that. Imagine the day when 7 of those windows in the back are needed just to list and invite people into all the things that we do on #everyday of the week. A community that exists, #everyday, not just Sunday. So we decided to use today for communicating our vision to the congregation, at least what we've come up with so far, and providing a time for all of us to get to know each other better, and as well as soliciting your own visions that we can take input as going forward. After all, many brains are better than just 1, 2, 3, 7 or so. Well, some of us have multiple personalities.
So as you can tell, we have fun together, and we've had a great time coming up with different ideas to fill our #everyday. And so what I'm going to share with you is one of the things that we want to implement, which is a pizza and prayer on a Wednesday. And maybe we talked about this before we had lunch. Pizza was on our mind, and then prayer came along with it. And really, as we kind of spitballed as a group, we talked about how can we think about our congregation and each other all week long? How can we pray for each other, right? And Chris is going to talk about that a little bit more, but this is just an example of something that we can do. We have these 2 beautiful spaces, and we have a lot of opportunity not to just fill them on Sunday. We love our Sunday space and time. But giving those opportunities, sometimes a weeknight's better for somebody. Maybe a Monday breakfast time is good for a group. So we want to utilize this more. And one of the things that you'll see in the back, which we really hope, throw things on the wall, we'll see what sticks, right? And that's really the thought of today. But it is non-Sunday opportunities. What are things you guys want to do? Do we want to get a projector and watch a basketball game on a Thursday? We've got a lot of opportunity to learn more about each other and be involved in the community here at church. So you'll be hearing more about pizza and prayer coming on Wednesday nights.
So we've talked about reimagining how the prayer wall was working, and you might have noticed if you came in the back entrance, there's some cable hung up there, and you'll find prayer cards in your little buckets on your table. And so if you like a prayer request, fill this out, and on your way out, just clip it to the wire back there on the back hallway. And if you see a prayer request and you want to pray over that, grab somebody's and take it home with you and pray over that. And don't worry, if there's still cards left on Wednesday, we'll take those and we'll pray over those as well. Maybe when we're eating pizza.
Yeah.
Not sure.
Yeah.
But so grab a prayer request card. If you've got a request, fill it out and put it on the wall, and then likely take one if you see one that you'd like to pray over.
I know. What are people's worst fear is having to speak in public is one of them. Mine is not that, it's spiders. But I know. But I love this. I love that, one, you get to see these folks, a step back, but also that you get to be part of this process. And as I said before, this is our discernment process. We are gathering information. This is an opportunity for you to give input. So as we are enjoying food together, I want to invite you to circulate. I have some tasks for you. Our ideas and our values are written up on the wall there, the big blue wall. And I want you to check those out. I want you to take some time. Take your bowl over, eat some chili, look at it. But I also want you to do some other things, and I'm going to pop down to this quick. I'm going to give you some tasks first, is I want you to enjoy some good eats today. I want you to vote for your favorite chili, and I want you to meet one of the folks behind me. Now you may say, I know all of them. Good. Make sure you say hi to one. Share your thoughts and your questions. So how this is going to work is I hope that you enjoy a meal, but I also hope that you make your way back there. There are 3 dividers, 3 big gray dividers, and each one has a question above it. And so these questions are: what are some partnerships we should consider? What are the weekday opportunities we should consider? What do you want to know? And what's on your mind? So there's markers back there you can write on the white paper. There's also Post-it notes if you're more comfortable with that. But this is about our community here. This is about us seeking to be the community of Christ. Well, that only happens when community works together. It only happens when we come together in this. And I love that one of the ideas that came out of our time is about prayer and community. It's about connecting with one another and how do we pray for one another. And it's just a place for us to start. It's one thing. There's probably other things that are going to be built on today. And so I want you to take that time and to do that and to connect with each other. Take some time here today. We don't often have this, and I want us to do that. Now, Chris has described how the prayer wall is going to work, and I invite you to do it. There are cards on your table today. If there are things that are weighing on you, put them down there. Put them on the rails over there. If you feel led to take someone's prayer, you can also just take pictures and take them with you if that's easier for you through the week. But I want this to be a time for us to connect with one another, to pray for one another. Now, there are some things that have always been going on here. There are things that are rebuilding. There are some things that are new to us, some things that will be new to us. There's a women's group that, just for example, that has kind of restarted again, that wants to meet on the first Sunday of the month. And they are looking to do hands-on activities that support local organizations that do some good in this community. Last month, they made baby blankets for Baby Pantry, so they will go to families in need with small children. They are looking for your ideas. They are looking for your kind of suggestions on what are some organizations they could support in this effort. So you have opportunities all around us to not only give the big input, but also some smaller one. Take the time to know each other. Take the time to connect with one another, because in that, things get bigger and better. And you might be surprised in all of this by the power and the beauty and the love of God at work in the community of God.